Welcome to the Explainer, Focused Learner. Okay, let's dive into this. Today we're exploring a beautifully specific piece of landscaping wisdom that could completely change how you think about your own outdoor spaces. We're stepping into a curated entry from a journal titled Notes on Gardening. Specifically, we're unpacking part 927, published on June 16, 2026, by a super passionate gardener named Ang. And you know, this isn't your standard, run-of-the-mill how-to guide. It's actually this wonderful open letter addressed simply to the interweb. In just a few short paragraphs, Ang manages to completely reframe how we might approach designing the edges of our pathways. It's an invitation to take a truly sensory landscaping journey, transforming an ordinary walk through the yard into a completely immersive experience.
Now, when we want to line a walkway or create a border in our gardens, our minds almost always jump straight to the traditional approach, right? Planting trees. It's the classic choice. But here's the thing, trees can be incredibly heavy. Their canopies spread way out, their extensive root systems and thick trunks take up massive amounts of ground space, and before you know it, they can easily overwhelm a confined path, making it feel cramped rather than inviting. It's a really tricky spatial dilemma right out of the gate when you're working with limited room. This is where Ang offers a brilliantly simple alternative, clumping bamboo. By pivoting away from that heavy footprint of trees, Ang suggests that clumping bamboo serves as a much better, far more elegant solution for these tight spaces.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why this specific plant variety works so practically when you're dealing with narrow walkway borders. Clumping bamboo is a superior alternative because it offers a lush layer of greenery entirely through its vertical growth and tight, clustered foliage. You get all the rich, vibrant benefits of dense plant life, but it grows straight up toward the sky. It doesn't encroach horizontally the way a massive tree canopy might. This allows you to maintain that immersive, lush green feeling without eating up the valuable real estate of a narrow path. You keep your clear walkway, but you still get to be completely surrounded by nature.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how we can break down the physical geometry of the plant itself and start to truly understand its visual magic. Ng notes that there is something inherently atmospheric about bamboo. Because the leaves are wonderfully thin and grow in these tight little clusters, they act as a natural living screen. They literally filter the sun as it shines through, producing a very specific, soft, dappled light on the ground below. It's not a harsh, heavy shadow like a solid brick wall or a dense oak trunk would cast. Instead, it's a beautifully textured, constantly moving light that creates a highly unique, almost ethereal visual atmosphere right at your feet.
But you know, the visual aspect is really only half of the experience here. There is a deeply soothing sonic dimension to this as well. Just imagine walking down that narrow, vertically lined path on a breezy afternoon. When the wind catches those thin, clustered leaves, they create a gentle, continuous rustling sound. It's a very distinct, delicate whisper. By placing clumping bamboo right at the border of your walkway, you aren't just designing for what the eye sees, you are intentionally designing for what the ear hears. You're actively adding a beautiful, whispering sonic layer to your daily walk, turning a simple stroll down a path into a multi-sensory event.
Let's move to this and see how this builds into a beautifully calming atmosphere. When you synthesize that soft, dappled light filtering through the thin leaves with that gentle rustling of the wind, what do you actually get? Well, as Ang beautifully puts it, together, these elements create an environment that is deeply calming and sensory-rich. You aren't just walking from point A to point B anymore to get to your front door or your backyard shed. You're passing through an intentionally crafted microenvironment that actively soothes the senses, literally melting away the stress of the day through light and sound.
So the crucial point is that this evocative, highly practical advice isn't from some sterile landscaping manual or a rigid rulebook. It ends with a simple, warm sign-off. Till the next post, yours truly, Ang. It comes directly from a passionate gardener sharing their personal, lived experience in a series of open letters to the interweb. It gives this entire concept a wonderfully intimate, curated feel. It's simply the story of one gardener discovering a beautiful moment of peace on their walkway and generously deciding to share the mechanics of that peace, the vertical bamboo, the dappled light, the whispering sound, with the rest of the world.
Which brings us to our final thought for this explainer. Considering everything Ang has shared with us, the way clumping bamboo gracefully handles narrow paths through straight vertical growth, the way it filters the sunlight into a soft dapple, and the way it whispers in the wind to create a sensory-rich environment, is it time to rethink the traditional tree border in your own outdoor spaces? Could the atmospheric allure of clumping bamboo be the exact element your walkway is missing? Take that thought with you the next time you step outside. Thank you for joining me for this explainer, and keep learning.